Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we've got a debut on the channel today for the constructor Lake. And the puzzle title is My Strange Zebra, which just makes me laugh. I have read the rules. I think this might be called My Strange Zebra because this is a yin-yang puzzle. So we're going to have to employ two different types of shading, at the end of which we're going to transform the grid into part renban and part German whispers. So I think we're going to have, what's that going to be, a green and purple shaded zebra pattern at the end of it, if we can do it, which would indeed be a strange colour. I think we can agree for a zebra. So anyway, this puzzle, the testers loved this and said it's really original. So yeah, 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty is where they rated it. I hope they're right. Although what that means is a debatable thing, isn't it? Because some 3-star puzzles seem to take over an hour, and some you might be able to get done in 40 minutes. So there is little consensus. But anyway, I'll read you the rules of this one in a moment or two's time. I've got a few things to mention today. I've got the normal 3 things, which we've been talking about over the last few days. The first one is our new Sudoku app, Line Sudoku. Do check it out. It's absolutely wonderful. It's out on all platforms. The second is the Sudoku Hunt, the Trick or Treat Sudoku Hunt from the Skunk Works, which is our Patreon reward for October. Now, just a little hint to some of you. We've had hundreds and hundreds of correct entries to various parts of it. There are some hidden puzzles in that pack as well, which you might like to check out. So there are some Easter eggs to find. And then also our book. We are about to order the final print run in order to make sure that we can deliver the books in time for Christmas. So if you haven't ordered Cracking the Cryptic's Greatest Hits Volume 2 and you think you might like a copy, then please do that soon. I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen now. Next, I should wish Mark good luck. Mark's got actually all sorts of competitions coming up. I think I'm only taking part in one of the things Mark's got coming up. So I'm going to be in the Times Crossword Championship, which is later this month, I think October the 21st. Mark's also going to Toronto for the World Sudoku Championship. I don't know when that is, but I think it's soon. And tomorrow, Mark is having his second stab at Countdown, the UK TV show, which I know is, people like Sam Kappelman-Lyons have done amazingly well on Countdown before. Mark has been on it before and got very unlucky. But it's after a few years, you get to have another go. So Mark's next go is happening tomorrow. I don't think the TV programme happens tomorrow. It's just the recording of the show, so you won't be able to see, and I probably won't be able to tell you how he gets on, but let's all wish him luck in our minds. And then what else did I want to say? Oh, thanks, some of you did check out my the playlist I put up for my brother's birthday yesterday. Some of you seem to like that. That's great. Good music, eh? I achieved I will tell you, I achieved a lifelong ambition yesterday as well. I finally got down to scratch as a golfer, which I've never managed to do. So I don't know how I managed that, but I did. It's absolutely bizarre. And some birthdays. Let's talk about the birthday of Andrew and Abby. It's Andrew's birthday. I know this because his girlfriend Abby wrote to us. Andrew turns 18 today and Abby turned 18 yesterday. So I think we can say happy birthday to the two of you. And we hope that we hope, Abby, you had a brilliant birthday. We hope, Andrew, you have a brilliant birthday today. And I hope you both have lots of cake. Daniel, you're turning 31 today. And I know this because Grace wrote to us and told us. I think Grace is your wife, actually. I haven't written that down, but I think I remember reading that in the email. And Daniel often plays the puzzles and races to see who will finish first. So obviously a dedicated solver. And you've hearkened to the arrival of Maverick. It's always a classic episode of Cracking the Cryptic when Maverick does a fly past. That's what I think we say. Happy birthday, Daniel. Chelsea, you've turned 24 today. And I know this because your girlfriend Jada wrote to us. And apparently, Chelsea, you have a degree in astrophysics down there in South Africa. Probably my favourite country on earth, actually. and you're having vegan chocolate cake, and you're just about to start a new job as a researcher at an environmental company. So good luck with that, Chelsea. And yeah, I hope, well, you obviously are having vegan chocolate cake, which I've never had. I just hope the icing ratio is correct. Keith, you've turned 61 today, and I know this because your wife Heather wrote to us. Heather also asked if I could say happy 60th birthday to you as well, because apparently last year there was so much going on that she did very little for your birthday, and I think she still feels guilty about that. And now that you're going prime, you get 2 birthday wishes. So happy 60th and 61st birthday, Keith. Next, Nathan, down there in Melbourne. Now this birthday message comes to you from Ruth, who is in Dunedin, New Zealand, and the two of you sort of bond over Sudoku, and that's a good thing because that means you won't have to talk about the rugby, I guess. And Nathan, it's your birthday tomorrow, but I suppose it already is tomorrow for you, so this birthday message will appear appropriately, and you watch every night. Well, Nathan, many happy returns. Also to Rohan, who's turning 49 today, not in Melbourne this time, but in Sydney. And Rohan is having his mother's chocolate cake recipe today, which involves changing some of the flour, the plain flour, for oats, which apparently gives the cake a different and yummier texture. Well, there you've said it. I couldn't comment, but it does sound nice. And then finally, Jordan in California. Your friend Valeria wrote to us, and she describes you as one of the best people she knows. Jordan, I know that you want to be a doctor. You should definitely try and pursue your dreams, I think. And Valeria wanted you to enjoy your birthday with your parents, and she hopes she sees you in person very soon. So happy birthday to Jordan. Lots of birthdays today. That's grand, isn't it? I like doing the birthdays. Anyway, that is all the birthdays. Let's have a look at My Strange Zebra by Lake and see what Lake has in store for us. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. And after yesterday's shenanigans from Analytical Ninja, I'm quite pleased that we're back to normal Sudoku today. Now, yin yang, so we have to shade some cells such that all shaded cells are orthogonally connected and all unshaded cells are orthogonally connected, and no 2x2 area may be fully shaded or unshaded. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means we have to arrive at a pattern that looks something like this in the grid. So if I shade those cells, and then we contrast that with these ones, I don't know what the best contrasting colour is going to be. I'll try yellow. So yellow and green. Now, if you examine the green cells for a moment, you can see if you double click on them, they form what we call an orthogonally connected area. And orthogonally connected just means that each of the green cells can connect to another green cell along an edge. So if we were to introduce this cell to green, now the green area is not orthogonally connected because these 3 cells only touch at a point, the diagonal point. So this cell is not orthogonally connected to the rest of the greens, and that wouldn't meet the rules of the puzzle. And if you look at this pattern as well, all the yellows are obviously orthogonally connected, so we've met both of those requirements, and there's no 2x2 area of green or yellow. So this could be a legitimate shading. However, there are more rules which I suspect will mean that wasn't going to be the shading we end up with. Right, so when a segment of a grey line is shaded, it acts as a renban line, and digits on a renban line form a non-repeating set of consecutive digits in any order. So imagine this cell was a renban shading, which is shaded. So imagine this cell ends up being shaded, or these 3 cells end up being shaded, and imagine this square here was a 1. Then we would know these 2 digits would have to be 2 and 3, because that line altogether has to contain a set of consecutive digits without repeats, and those digits can appear in any order. So that would be a possible way if that turns out to be a renban line. Now, when a segment of a grey line is unshaded, it acts as a German whisper line, and adjacent digits along a whisper line must have a difference of at least 5. And then it says each German whisper and renban line must be at least 2 cells long. So let's go back to this line. Let's imagine we worked out this was unshaded. That would mean we have to apply German whisper rules along this line segment, which means that consecutive digits must differ by at least 5. So if this was a 3, this would then have to be an 8 or a 9. Let's say that's a 9, and that could be a 1. That would be a legitimate way of filling this line. 3 is different from 9 by 6, and 9 is different from 1 by 8. So we've met the criteria along the line. And then what it's also saying is that every time we introduce a colour, so say we worked out that, well, let's say we worked out that square was German whispers, then we would know this square would also have to be German whispers, because if it suddenly flicked to being renban, then this segment is not 2 cells long, and that's against the rules. So it's a really cool rule set that you can use yin-yang shading to introduce renban and whispers constraints. I've definitely not seen it before. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I'm under a modicum of time pressure today because, speaking of my brother's birthday yesterday, my sister is visiting today. Yeah, let's have a think about this. I mean, it must be to do with this massive line, mustn't it? In fact, yeah, maybe that's what I should start with. I mean, there are a plethora of secrets that one could start with in this puzzle, actually. Let's just quickly run through all the secrets I know, in case that is relevant. So, if you're new to yin-yang or renban or German whispers, you might not know all these secrets, but they are probably going to help us. So the first secret is a yin-yang secret, and that secret is that you can't have a checkerboard pattern in this puzzle. And that's because of the rules regarding the need to connect cells of the same colour to one another in orthogonal regions. Because you can see, if we did have a checkerboard, how would you connect these two greens together using an orthogonal pattern? And it doesn't matter what pattern you do. This cell is now isolated, and it can't be in an orthogonally connected pattern with this cell. And if we'd have gone the other way with the green line, of course, that logic would have been absolutely analogous. It would have just isolated that one. So we can't do that. That's not going to work. So there's no checkerboard. Now what that means is that the perimeter in a yin-yang puzzle is very constrained. It can't have lots of different changes of colour in it. Because let's say we had 1 change of colour, 2 change of colour, and we went back to purple again here. Let's ask if any of these cells now, any of them, could be green. Let's try and make that one green and think about why that might not work. It doesn't work because I have to connect this green to this green somehow, and you can see that it doesn't matter again. It doesn't matter what route we take to do that. The effect of doing that is to isolate this purple from this purple, which cannot be allowed because we need to connect all the purples together. So what that means is that in a perimeter of a yin-yang, you can have a maximum of 2 strings of colour. You could just have the whole perimeter in 1 colour, but if you change colour, now either, you've got to divide this area into contiguous, so you could do that and that, for example, but what you couldn't do is that. That won't work. So you can see you've got to have 2 areas maximum around the perimeter. Now let's talk about other things. German whispers. So wherever we get German whispers segments of line, let's say we worked out this was a German whispers segment, you couldn't have 5 on it, because if you do try and put 5 on a whispers segment, the next digit needs to be at least 5 different from 5. If you go down, you get to 0 or negative numbers. If you go up, you get to 10 or higher, and they are not Sudoku digits. So no 5s on whispers. 4s and 6s are the other things to be thinking about on German whispers, as well as polarity shifts, I suppose. So because you can't put 5 on, every digit will either be a 1, 2, 3, 4 digit or a 6, 7, 8, 9 digit, and they will oscillate along the line. And 4s and 6s are constrained. Imagine that was green. Now this cell has only one option. 4 is monogamous. It only ever partners the digit 9 on the whisper, because that's the only digit that's 5 away at least from the digit 4. The other digit that has that property is 6. That only is allowed to partner up with 1. So those are the secrets of whispers. Now, do I know any secrets of renbans? Less secrets of renbans. Not really. You couldn't have more than... Actually, that is quite an interesting thought I've just had. You can't have more than a 9-cell area of renban. So imagine that was renban. That doesn't work because you can't repeat a digit or in a single renban segment, and there are only 9 Sudoku digits. So it's certainly not possible for this entire sort of perimeter line here to be renban. Well, okay, so it's not possible for it to be renban because that's got loads of cells in it that's beyond 9. It's also not possible for it to be whispers because we've got to put 5s on it. There's got to be a 5 in row 1, and there's got to be a 5 in column 1 as well. So wherever those 5s live, they are not, well, they are going to have to be renban. So I feel like I'm being told, oh, I see. Now, I thought what I was being told was that these have to be renban around the perimeter. But I'm not sure that's true, actually, because maybe you could have... Oh, hang on, I'm confusing myself, I think. What's this? Do we know what this is? If this is whisper, then it would have a 9 in one of those two squares, wouldn't it? In fact, if that's whisper, it's the end of a line, because we can't go through a line like that. Imagine that's the pattern. That can't work, because these would both be 9, because 4 is monogamous. So if the corner digit is whisper, then one side of it will be renban. But if this is renban, I think this is the problem. This is the one that I think is very plausible. Because now... Well, actually, now I'm changing my mind again. Well, what I was going to say is that there's very little pressure on this digit, and that's certainly true. I mean, you could build... But we have to be careful here. It's not... I don't think it's the renban that this 4 is part of that's the problem. Because... Yeah, there's going to have to be a change of colour somewhere along this row, isn't there? Well, let me just think about that. Sorry, I'm just playing with ideas at the moment. If this whole row was renban, then that doesn't work. That doesn't work because of the perimeter. If this whole row is renban, then the whole row is fine in terms of the renbanness. Its renbanic nature is fine. But this cannot be purple now, or that would be a 10-cell renban region. So that has to be whisper. This has to be whisper by the same token. And now what on earth do we do with column 1? Because the rest, we have to connect these up. We can't have loads of changes of colour around the perimeter. So you'd have that pattern, but the 5 in this column would break the puzzle, because it would be a 5 on a whisper. Yeah, this is clever. This is really, really interesting. This, I don't think this can be renban. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think it can be. Because any other construction, I was sort of doing the extreme one, which is going 9 cells like that. If this is any shorter, let's say it's however many cells that is, if it's 7, we've just exacerbated the problem. You can't put 2 5s in that region, because you can't repeat a digit. Those two would both be green. So the 2 5s, well, so you could put 1 5 in one of these cells, but the other 5 is going to end up being on a whisper. And it doesn't matter how you... I don't think it matters. The point is that if you make this renban, however long the region is, it's got 1 5 in it. And because you're going to have greens on both sides of it, and the rest of the perimeter becomes green, the 5 that is not in the renban will break the puzzle. That's really beautiful to me. That's very, very strange logic, but I think it's right, and that must therefore be green. Now, one of these is 9, because we know this green grows, and one of these is 9, and one of these, this is a 9 renban pair. One of these is renban, one of these is 9. But what does that mean? Can I just look at this for a second? I'm just going to just shade that in, just so I can think about it, because I think in this row we've still got the issue of 5 now, haven't we? Where does 5 go in row 1 under this paradigm? Well, it's not in green, so one of these squares is purple, and therefore the rest of the perimeter is going to be purple. And if it was the other way round, it's going to work the same way, but in reverse. So if we did it the other way round, let's take those colours out, make this one green and this one purple. Obviously the 5 in this column now is going to be purple and is going to connect to that around that way. So what we're now learning is that, well, the thing is though, whichever way the green goes, it could go all the way to the end of the, it could go virtually to the end of the row. So the 5 could be in one of those two positions. So we don't, that's weird, it's weird. So these two are definitely purple, which means these are purple. But we have to bear in mind that whichever one of these is not 9 will be purple, and that's going to cause an extension of which is going to be a profound extension of this purple border piece. That's got to be green, because otherwise we form a 2 by 2. Now let me just think about this, because if we one of these is 9. I'm wondering if there's some way that we can, you know, is it really possible, for example, for that to be entirely green? Then you'd have to put the 6 at this end of it, because you can't put 6 in the middle of a whisper line, it's monogamous. So that would be 6, that would be 1, that would be 9. That would be 5. Oh! No. No, forget that. That's a silly thought. It's so silly, I'm not even going to utter it. Okay, so that might be possible. Okay, all right, I'm going to change that then. It said in the instructions that everything had to be at least 2 cells, so I can't make that green. Well, that line segment is 1 cell of each, so that must be purple. And that gives me more 2x2 avoidance digits in. So that's forced. We could... Yeah, that's quite interesting, actually. So I hadn't thought about this at all, but I'm now appreciating for the first time that all of these 2 and 3 cell lines are one colour. In the sense that we couldn't divide this cell, this 3 cell line or this 3 cell line into 2 of one colour and 1 of the other, because that would break the rules. So these are all one colour, which means that's the opposite. So whatever this is, that's its opposite. So imagine they were, I mean, I don't know whether this is going to be purple or green, but whatever these are, that would be the opposite. So that would be the opposite. In the sense that because the orange would have to extend. So somehow or other, these 5 cells here are going to have this sort of configuration in terms of colouring. Now, yeah, okay, so let's think about this now. If orange was green, then the world is broken. Now, let me show you. If I switch those to be green and I make these purple, let's have a think about how this line works now. What's that cell? Well, it can't be purple because that's a 1 cell segment. So it has to be green, but that makes a 2x2. So that doesn't work. So in fact, we go back here, we know orange is purple, orange is purple, and green is green, which is a surprise. Green is green. This looks like it's ripe for... yeah, it is. We can't have a checkerboard there. So that's got to be purple. That means that's green to avoid a 2x2. This green has to meet some friends. So it's going to have to come through that channel to do that. That's a checkerboard opportunity, which we must avoid. This is a 2x2. This has got to avoid a 2x2. That's got to avoid a checkerboard. That's got to continue. Oh, this is magic. This is absolutely magical. Look, that's going to be a 2x2. That's got to get out. What I think is so cool about this is... I love... oh, I've just noticed that I've got to avoid a checkerboard. I've got to avoid a 2x2. I've got to avoid a 2x2. I've got to avoid a checkerboard. I've got to avoid a 2x2. Good grief. Oh, I was thinking I could probably do something with that, but I can't see how to do it. No, but what I was going to say is what I really love is the reward, the payoff we're getting for the thoughts that we had at the start. It feels like we're making profound progress. Look at this domino. That's got to be the same colour. If that's green, that's a 2x2 of green, so that's got to be purple. Now I've got to avoid a checkerboard by making that purple. I want to say that looks like it wants to be green, but that might not be right. I think this one, I should be able to do something with this, I feel. But whatever that is, if that's purple, then what would this be? We don't know. Yeah, maybe this is ambiguous, this one, so perhaps it's not that. What about that one? If that's purple, let me just look at that. If that's purple, that's going to have to be green to avoid a 2x2, so that will be green, that will be green. That feels... no, that's probably okay, actually. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at that being green. I think that's going to put less pressure on it because it doesn't determine that digit, does it? So, maybe actually it's worse if that's purple. Oh, that simply doesn't work. Yeah, there you go. If this line, remember, it's all one colour. So if it's purple now, this has to avoid a 2 by 2, either there or there. So it has to be green, but that green has been automatically corralled into a rather small pen, and that's not very nice for that green. So that's 3 greens surrounding this, which I don't know actually. It's going to be one of these lines. If that's now, and now I'm going to look at whether that can be green again. I think it could be. What about if that's purple now? Then these would both be purple. That doesn't create a 2 by 2. Oh, Bobbins McBobbin's face! I've suddenly just come to a massive dead end. It was going so well for a moment or two. Maybe I know one of these is purple. No, it's more powerful if the top's purple, because that being purple means you'd have to make. Let's just look at that for a second. If this string is purple, that's green, that's green, that's green. These would all be purple. I can't see. I can't see what's wrong with that immediately. So without doing sort of overindulgent look ahead, which this puzzle hasn't needed, so I'm not going to do that until I'm really stuck. What about all right, what about Sudoku in this box? If absolutely forced to, I will look at Sudoku. That can't be a 4, because 4 is monogamous again, and that's going to cause both of those to be 9. So 4 is a bit restricted in this box. So if that's 4, that's 9. 4, 9. That would have to be a 1 or a 2. If that's 4, we don't know what this line is, do we? No, I don't think we do. Let me just think about that for a moment. Ooh. One of those digits is a 4 by renbanic logic. The way I think that falls out is that because I know one of these is purple, I know either this is a 9-cell line, purple line, or this is a 9-cell purple line. And whichever one of those is a 9-cell purple line, it must have a 4 on it. But the 4, because of this naughty 4 in the corner, the 4 will have to be round the corner from the 4. So it's either going to be there or there. But I don't think that's the right way round to fix this, is it? I was just thinking, if that's 4, that's 4, that's 9. But which way round is it? If that's purple, no, if that's purple, that's 9, isn't it? Because this is a 9 purple pair. That's what we originally worked out. I think we called it a 9 renbanic pair. Is that right? So if one of these is green 9, one of these is purple. If that's purple, that's 4, that's 4, and we get 2 9s in column 2. It doesn't work. That is absolutely beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. So this is the moment at which we can determine which way round this goes. So let me just show you that fully. If this is purple, then we know this is 9. Well, the actual way the logic should go is if this is green, because if this is green, we know this can't be green because it would be double 9. So if this is green, this must be purple. And then for the perimeter, that must be purple. So this renbanic line now needs a 4 on it. It's a 9-cell line. So that's the 4, which means this is a 4, which means this is a 9, and that is broken. That has broken the world. That is absolutely gorgeous. And now, this is huge, because this is now 4, amongst other things. So we now know this is the green extension, so it is a 9. We know this is the purple extension, which is going to be great up here. But let's do the easy win first. That has to be the 4. There's now a 4 on this line, which is going to, well, hang on, because this is green. I was about to say it's going to stop this being a green line altogether because there's a 4. Yeah, that is green. This is absolutely beautiful. Again, this is green. This entire line is green, because otherwise you're going to have a 1-cell purple on it. That's now, this is going now, it's going again. This is purple to avoid a 2x2. That forces all 3 of those to be purple. This must be purple to avoid a checkerboard. That's got to be purple to make sure they're the same. That's now green to avoid a 2x2. I don't know what that's doing there, but it does resolve this. Because you can't put a 4 here, because both sides of it would have 9 on it. It's exactly the same as the logic in the corner. So this is 4, this is 9, this is 9. 4 is in one of these 2 squares. It's also beautiful that we keep having to flick between yin-yang logic, German whispers logic, renban logic, and Sudoku. This is really clever. Now, can we somehow complete the pattern here? Do we know whether this has to increase somehow? What's the problem with having? I'm not sure. Okay, I can do this cell, can't I, by checkerboard? I was trying to think about whether there was a problem with extending green down here, but I think I looked at that in row 1 and concluded that wasn't difficult. But anyway, I can do checkerboard there. That's got to be green, otherwise we have a checkerboard. So that's got to, well, that's quite useful actually, because that's got to be purple and that's got to be purple now. And that's got to be purple, because otherwise we have a checkerboard there. And this little tetromino of greeniness hasn't got out, and that means that's green, and that means we can't introduce purple here, or we've got too many colours in the perimeter. So we've got at least a small extension of green line. This is just brilliant, this puzzle. This is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, loads of things I've seen now. That's a checkerboard opportunity, which must be avoided. This, look at this green area on the right. It's isolated, so that's got to be... Well, not only is it isolated, but it's utterly isolated in the sense even when I connect it to this little green is still isolated from that little green. So that finishes off the pattern, and we've done it. We've shaded the puzzle out of absolutely nowhere. Now, in this column, where does 5 go? It's got to go there, because it can't go anywhere else. It can't go on a green line. That's got to be a 4 or a 6, because that is renbanic. Oh, and I see how we do this. Look, where do we put 6 in column 1? Well, nowhere, where it's the one that will be on. If we put the 6 here, for example, let's just see what it does. Those 2 squares now, 6 is monogamous, so we'd have to put 1 on both sides of it. So 6 must live at the end of the line, which makes this a 4, it makes this a 1. We can, oh yeah, where's the 3 in this column? It's got to be here, so that's got to be 8, because we need a digit 5 away that's not 9. This has got to be 2 by polarity, and that's got to be 7. Now, what do we do? do we turn our attention to? Well, let's use Sudoku. I know it's unfashionable, but that's 4. That's 9 now. So this digit has to be a 1 because it can't be 2, 3, or 4. These digits are now a 5, 6 pair. Now, these are renbanic again. So if this is, yeah, here you go. That can't be 5. Because this digit would have to be consecutive with 5, and it can be neither 4 nor 6. So that's 6, that's 5. This can't be 5, so it must be 7. This digit, neither of these digits can be 4, look. So this is a 5, 6, 7 triple, and the 7 of it goes there, and that's a 6. It wouldn't be stressing the situation to say that I love this puzzle. It is absolutely brilliant. Now, how do we make more progress though? I'm wondering whether I need to use, maybe I use this one. Let's just check this. So that digit is high by polarity along the whisper segment, and it's got to therefore be 6 or 8. It can be both, I think. This digit is 1, 2, or 3. No, okay, that was a dreadful choice of line segment to check out. It just didn't work. So this line segment, this is basically has to be consecutive digits. It seems like to me it's either got to be a 1, 2 pair, or it's a 7, 8 pair. So I see, and you can't put 7 on it. So it is a 1, 2 pair, and that gets resolved. That fixes, no, it doesn't quite fix this digit. These squares are now 5, 7, and 8. So 5 we can place. This is a 7, 8 pair, I think. This must be a 2, 3 pair. So this has got to be an 8, 8, 8, 9 pair, actually. Now, of the things we just did, what is helpful? What's on a line? Nothing, I think. Bother. How about we look at... I don't know, actually. We might all of a sudden have just hit an absolute brick wall. Let's... What could we do here? 5 in this box has to be there. Sudoku, of course. We should never neglect Sudoku. Ah, yeah, okay, that's good. So where does 5 go in box 5? Remember, it can't go on green line segments. So it's on this segment here, where it can't be next to 4. So it's a 5, 6 pair. We know the order. This is, I mean, what is so impressive about this is that the logic is so clean. 2, 3, 6, 7 now. Just trying to see if there's an easy win. I know that I can see there's a 6 over here. 4 is in one of those squares. Ooh, I'm wondering whether we can knock 1 off this line, because for this to be a 1, 2, 3 triple now, well, if this has 1 on it, because it's not. Well, what I'm thinking is 4 isn't on this 3 cell segment, so it's either lower than 4 and it's a 1, 2, 3 triple. I can't see why that's wrong. Or it's higher than 4 but lower than 9. So it would have to have 6 and 7 on it, which would place the 6. Not sure. I'm not sure if we can do that. We probably can somehow. I just can't see how to do it. What about... Okay, this is a 4, 5 pair in column 5. So 7, 8. This is 6, 7, 8, is it, by Sudoku? So this is 1, 2, 9 down here. That's not 1. Well, if this is 1, 2, 9, I ought to know that digit. That's a 3 by Sudoku. No. No, that is right. That does feel right, actually. I was suddenly wondering. I was ignoring the given digit, which is, of course, something I'm prone to do. Okay, so what are those two digits then? 2 and 6, which we can do the order of. Good grief. So these squares are 1, 7 and 9. And that's not 9. These squares are 3 and 6. And these squares are 2, 5 and 8. But none of these are on lines up here, so I think these are a lot less useful. But look, we now know exactly what these digits are. They are 2, 7 and 8. Yeah, okay. So this can't be a 7-8 pair because this is green line. So this must oscillate. Polarity must have a digit that's lower than 5. So that's clearly the 2, isn't it? And the 2 therefore goes there, which means this is also low polarity. And it can't be 2, 3 or 4. So that's 1. And the 8 and the 7 get resolved. 8, 7 get resolved. We need to put 9 in this box, and that's just appeared there, which is on a funny line. So that's got to be consecutive. This digit is a something. 3. These digits are now 2 and 6. Oh, 2 and 6 is no good because I want to know how this line works. Right, that's no longer 8. That is 6, 7 or 8. No, that's not 6, 7 or 8. It's 7 or 8. So this square has to be consecutive with that, but there seems to be a few options actually. 6, 7. Oh, only 6 and 7. It can't be 8 or 9. That's 6 or 7. So one thing you can do here, look, is you can think about this square. That can't be 7, can it? Because if that's 7, it's going to cause these to not have an odd digit on them, and they're meant to be consecutive. They would be 8 and 6, and they are definitely not consecutive. So that's got to be 6 or 8. 7 here means that's 6. That's 8, therefore that's 7. That's not, it can't be 8, so that's 6. That's 9. That's 8. That's not 9 anymore. So in this row we need 1s, 2s and 7s. 1s, 2s and 7s. Can we do that? Maybe 6. We can do the 6. 6 and 3 go in. That's no longer 8, look. I'm sure we're going to have to think about this line. Yeah, let's look at that actually. How many high digits can be on that 3-cell segment? And the answer is only 1, because 7 is not available and 6 and 8 are in the box. So the 9, which is the available high digit, must sit between 2 low digits here. So these squares are from 1, 2, 3. 4 is also possible, because 4 is obviously still 5 away from 9. That's not... Oh, hang on. That's not 1, is what I wanted to say. That's not 3. That's not 9. So we get a 9 in row 7. Okay. Have we... Oh no, we haven't quite. There we go. There. Look, this 1 completes a 2-3 triple in this row. So that if this was 2, because 4 isn't on this segment, this would have to be 1, 2, 3, and it can't be now. So that's got to be 6. That's got to be 2. There's no... We know there's a 7 on this segment, so that's 7. And this square is either 8 or 5, and it can't be 5, so that's 8. So this is not 8. This is not 7. That's the 7 in the bottom row. That's not 7. That's not 7. So this is 7 in the top row. And is this done now? Please. This 4-5 pair. Maverick flies past again. It's a 1-3 pair. That 3 is useful. So 3 and 1 go into the grid. That's not 1 anymore. Have we got any other lines that I've... Oh, look, 9 here. That's 9. That's 1. So maybe, where do we think we look? 1, 2, 3 and 5 into these squares. I'll put it in. Look, we've reached a position of full pencil markage. Oh, okay, yeah. Now a simpler question is, where does 5 go in this box? It's clearly got to be in this domino, and therefore that's got to be a 2, that's got to be a 5, that's got to be an 8, that's got to be a 5, that's got to be a 4. 2, 2, 3 all go into the grid. 2 and 1 go into the grid. 1 in box 9 has to be in the corner. I've not been looking for 3s in the corner. Hopefully the software would have told me had I had the opportunity to put one in. That's 3, 5 now, so that's 4, 4, 5, 5, 3. And that might be the puzzle finished. Let me just pause and let's just take a quick stock count. Does it look like all of these sequences are obeying the rules inherent in their colour? I might just make the green, actually. I might make the green a darker green, because I can see the grey line underneath it very slightly better. Can't see any. Let's click ticks here. Oh, it likes it. It likes it. It says it's right. Solve counter 16 in 8.6 days. Well, this puzzle dissolves to be solved by, well, tens of thousands of people, in my opinion. It is absolutely brilliant. What a debut, Lake. It's just stunning, because the whole conceit of it is very clear when you first look at the grid. It's all to do, I think I've still got the wrong colour in here. Let's go yellow. But it's all to do with this grey line around the perimeter. That's very clear at the start, but actually working out how that grey line is constrained is very cool. And then it's really interesting, because you can suddenly start to use these little lines to actually make progress. And the selection of the given digits is really clever as well, because it did something in that box, didn't it? It stopped. Yeah, it determined the colour of these. I can't quite remember how it did it. It was something to do with the 4 not being able to be, well, 4 couldn't be there, could it? Because that was going to cause 2 9s in the column or something. Well, that was a beautiful step. It's a beautiful puzzle. It's a strange zebra indeed, but one that I'm very pleased I met. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.